some industry leaders I haven't met for a while. Happy New Year to you. I'd like to acknowledge the presence of Professor T.G. Sitaram, who's the chairman of the All India Council of Technical Education. He's a very distinguished educationist and has really brought in the last few months a lot of dynamism and activity to the AICT, continued the good work that was done in the past few years. So good to see you, Professor T.G. Sitaram. After many years, maybe 4 or 5 years, I met Mr. J. Chaudhary, who's himself been a pioneer in fueling the innovation ecosystem. I remember now that we are also doing a FinTech festival and a lot more, and why not? But I know the first FinTech festival was done by you in Vizag. I came for that and really used to work in NVIDIA, and we were talking about, look at what is happening to NVIDIA. We're talking of innovation and look at how it's beaten Intel and everyone. As you know, he used to work for NVIDIA and used to be president South Asia. I see a lot of friends, some new ones, and some I see our friend Mr. Venkat from the Telangana Higher Education Council being here, and we've collaborated on many initiatives together. So good to see you, sir. I think the reason India as a culture, our parents never encourage us to fail. Failing means being ostracized, right? So we have a culture that only celebrates success. We do not celebrate failure. And I'm not suggesting we celebrate Rahul Gandhi, but on a serious note, we only celebrate success. And I think if we let our children to experiment and the culture allows them to fail, then that mindset of creating something, experimenting, pivoting, orbit changing, whatever you want, they'll eventually get to what they need to. And I'm reminded of a quote from the book, The Last Lecture, where Randy Pausch says that there's nothing called failure. It's all experience. He says, experience is what you get when you don't get what you want. So really, I think at a young level in schools, in families, in homes, in society, we have to let our young adults know that there's nothing called failure. Failure is part of the success equation. It is an experiment. It is an experience. I think that's the culture change that has happened in the last decade or so that has brought us. If I'd asked this question, you possibly would have said 3, 4, definitely less than 5. The shrinking oceans are making sure that we are endangering ourselves. The excreta of the large mammals, really, those of you know, these things, it really absorbs carbon dioxide. So ocean shrinking is not good. So teaching them what sustainability. I just want to say that if we teach children or sensitize children, sometimes teaching is difficult. They learn by example. They learn through doing. They learn through experiential learning, if I may use that. Teaching them these 3 things along with the softer skills of listening, because they have their phone. They have now artificial intelligence. And again, Chinmay talked, we are doing this in the era of artificial intelligence. How is it impacting us? I'll come to that. I genuinely believe the more artificial intelligence grows, the human skills that were relevant in the 90s, that were relevant in the 20s, that were relevant in the 21st century, will be even more relevant. It will tell you about your past behavior. It will rephrase so that you know that there is empathy. He is listening. He knows it's not that is happening. But the value of human touch or talking to a human being, we could have done this on Zoom. You shouldn't have traveled from Hyderabad, right? But the fact is, we're doing. So I genuinely believe, like in every other century, there have been fears about things, and human beings have been able to use advancement in technology to their benefit by being balanced about it, by minimizing the negative impact. I think the role of artificial intelligence in schools, in education, in learning, and especially in the business world and corporate world, will only enhance what is happening.
So all of us have heard about AI from Anurag Batraji, what it has really given an opportunity for us. But let me tell you my own impression of the artificial intelligence on our society. Friends, when I joined AICT, that's the time ChatGPT was sort of announced. That was last year, okay? ChatGPT 4 came out. Because many of us, when Anchor told us, I understood what AICT is, I am one of the graduate. But let me tell you, from my last 1 year, many of them have not understood what AICT does. So even recently we announced that we will also, monitor the quality of our undergraduate management education. There's a big hue and cry. They were worried why AICT is taking over. We are running this very effectively. I just wanted to tell them AICT is not taking anything. Okay? AICT is not an institution for that. AICT is All India Council for Technical Education, is a standard setting body. It's only set the quality parameters for us to evaluate in higher education, particularly in the area of technical education.
For the previous 3 events, I've been acting as more of a disruption. But this time, I'll be acting as a spark for all the dignitaries to set the stage on fire. And previously what I've said, it's all scripted, I've written it down, I've memorized it. But this time it'll be more impromptu. I have a PPT written down and I created it all by myself, no ChatGPT used. So please excuse the simple language. Right? So in this PPT, I'll be covering certain points, 4 of them to be exact. First, we have AI and its impacts. Then issues with AI, or basically ethics in AI. Then jobs created due to artificial intelligence. And jobs that cannot be replaced by AI. So next PPT. All right, I've only mentioned 2 of its impacts, which is education and finance. So nowadays in school, every child has a different pace of learning, correct? But the teacher only focuses on finishing the syllabus. And henceforth, most of the kids, they don't really understand what's going on. But artificial intelligence has really helped cater to these children and create courses specifically based on their levels of learning. So I'll just go into detail with that. First of all, as I stated, personalized learning. So personalized learning platforms such as Brilliant tend to understand the students' learning abilities and create tasks and exams specifically for the child. After that, we have virtual classrooms. Now, due to COVID-19, we have been more elaborate and, it's not really alien to us anymore. So in virtual classrooms, it really allows the student to access education from any part of the world with no limitations in facilities. After that, we have language learning apps. So I myself use Duolingo. I'm sure we've all heard of that. And language is a very complex thing. You travel 100 kilometers from somewhere and the language changes, the culture changes. And language also affects the way people speak, their accents.
The education system needs to be looked at in a new perspective. Again, it's my opinion. The students as well as teachers in terms of knowledge, content creation, assessment and reduction when it comes to administrative efforts, right? So those are things which are given in terms of advantages. But what needs to be looked at is how do we help still maintain that empathy, the connections with the students, right? And there is where I think that should be the focus, and that would continue to be the focus when it comes to education. And again, lot of things around creativity, right? How do you assess not the knowledge, but you're assessing the skill, right? There's going to be a lot of focus on skill, creativity, and experiential based learning, right? And there's going to be a shift from how good you are in terms of content knowledge, but there's going to be more focus on application, right? How are you applying the knowledge? Assessment, in my opinion, would soon change from theoretical knowledge assessments to practical knowledge, right? Again, I don't know whether we would continue to have this offline assessments, right? There will be more practical assessments which will come into play. Those are some of the things which comes in my mind.
So AI exactly the new Mr. India or Mr. Or Mrs. India or Miss India. This is the situation of AI today. Maybe 10 years down the line, they may decide to act. So I think bridging the gap of skill and bridging the education gap between rural and urban India, I think it is long way to go. First of all, and I'm sure there are so many professionals sitting here, I receive close to around 200 emails a day. Many students, many people startups send an email to me. And within a seconds, after reading those emails, and ChatGPT is just a year old, you can make out which is a ChatGPT email and which is a personalized email. Within seconds. There are new authors which have popped up after ChatGPT introduction on LinkedIn. There are millions of new authors. They are posting, they have never written a word in their own life. Now they are posting one article a day. Within seconds, you can make out, is this their own content or is it AI-based content? So AI has not become intelligent enough to fool human being till date. I think the replacement of AI, human will not happen. It will not be so easy. It will take maybe 10 years, 15 years or more development. It's going to happen, but not happen today. So we require better models. We require more human-centric models. There is a development happening. We may require more emotional intelligence into the build-up into the AI. Then only we can start teaching people at the much larger level. I don't think, and I'm really sorry to disappoint a lot of people here, I don't think AI can bridge the gap of education between urban and rural so easily as we speak about, as of now.
If I may take a little step back and try to probably bring some context to the ChatGPT. The GPT essentially is general purpose technology. And this is not the first time that we're experiencing a general purpose technology. We've had, a 3-mast ship. We've had steam engines. We've had cars. We've had aeroplanes. And every time a general purpose technology has stepped in, people always wonder, is it going to displace the existing jobs? So chariots, carriages were probably the ones which were likely to get displaced with the advent of cars. And that is not the case. So on similar grounds, even if you see the pioneers in this space, Sam Altman himself said that the first line of jobs which are likely to go would be the blue-collar jobs. Then the next would be probably the beginning of the white-collar jobs, the data entry jobs, and so on and so forth. And the creativity and the more sort of skilled jobs would be the last to go. And contrary to his expectations, it is the reverse flow that happened. The creative jobs were the ones which were first to get affected. And you see the marketing and the digital domain got affected significantly more. And the blue collar is actually least affected as of now. So what has happened is human ingenuity sort of surpasses people's expectations. There will be early adopters and there will be ignorers of any new technology that comes in. So if you are part of those adoption cycle, if you evolve, so there is prompt technology engineers that are required right now. There are multiple new domains that have opened up, which allows people to now sort of upskill themselves and go past what is not available, what is not doable by AI. So in terms of, and I agree with most people who have said this repeatedly, that we are still many, many years ahead in terms of AI actually making a significant impact. There's a report by McKinsey which says 30% of jobs, by 2030 will be taken over by AI. But at the same time, Shagun said it very clearly that twice the number of jobs will be created. So we really don't have to worry. It's important to not ignore and just be part of the upskilling and going forward with the journey that AI brings forth.
We in Maruti, we are viewing, artificial intelligence, auto AI and auto ML as a world of opportunities for us. And they are the enablers, and we have built it at 3-pronged strategy in our organization in terms of, first is creating awareness across Maruti at different levels, persona-wise, starting from blue collar to top. It starts from the top first, so we are creating a digital fluency skills, making top leaders aware, and then going it down the lines, and we are training all of them, making them aware how it is going to help them in enriching their jobs. Evaluating change, not losing the human touch. It's from human resource to humanizing resource we are working at. So we have, 3 aspects. One is skill, 3S, skill, scale, scalability. Second is 3E in terms of economy, efficiency and effectiveness process. And next is 3C, communication, collaborative excellence and compassion. So seeing all these views we are designing, and then simultaneously we are creating an environment for upskilling, reskilling, and also whatever emerging skills are coming. So we are also spreading, training people within the organization. We have done how to build those competencies. We have tied up with IITs and IIMs of the country to have cohorts to bring in, research and all those aspects. Joint research and cohorts have been created with the faculty. Second is we have adopted ITIs and institutions across India to build, create an curriculum for us, co-design the curriculum, which is the need of the industry. Third is we are also creating a startup ecosystem in Maruti to bring in and present and showcase what is happening in the world and keep improving day by day. So we have a Japanese philosophy of PDCA, plan, do, check, and act. And we do a lucid test where we are, where we want to be, and what are those tacit skills and engineering skills which we need to adopt for futures and keep upgrading them, build versus buy, both aspects. Thank you.
A lot of organizations these days are providing certifications. They have academia programs which they can collaborate with. The universities can collaborate with the organizations to be part of the academia programs. Get the teachers, the faculties upskilled, specifically on AI and Gen AI, get them certified so that they can further go back, train the students on the campus. That's one opportunity. The second is a lot of organizations again have this industry academia relationships, partnerships where not just the certifications, but they also do a lot of TTT programs for the faculties, where they go on the campus, train the faculties, train the students on the campus. So that's another opportunity for them to be part of it. I think industry collaboration and partnership and exposure is something which goes hand in hand and can help the teachers be reskilled and upskilled to handle the questions that are coming in from the students directly.
I think you raised a very valid point that we need to upskill, reskill sometimes. Just give that sense of, first of all, it all starts with embracing the change. Whenever you want to say upskill or capacity building or leadership, we use it in different contexts. But basically, if you look at Telangana, what we are trying to do, we're not going to do one size fits it all kind of an approach. We're looking at the different categories of teachers. We have different levels. You have those from typical IITs, NITs, and from those from the universities. But you have to really categorize them. What is that basic? It's not that you start a program and AI and then float it and then give it to all. We're looking at core engineering, if you talk about technology. We're looking at specialized emerging areas and then looking at the special needs. That's one. Two, we're also looking at a more inclusive approach towards capacity building. I was just making a comment in a lighter vein, if you don't mind. The whole panel is full of men. Yeah. And if you look at the workplace today, if you look at my student base, 60% of my students are girl students. 50% are faculty from women segment. And I need to address those issues. So one, my upskilling has to be inclusive. Two, my upskilling has to be reaching the audience in the right manner. I can't have an advanced AI course where the core engineering is suffering because the basic knowledge is not there. So I will have to do a skill gap, knowledge gap, and a training and needs an assessment, and then do it. Second thing, you have to also recognize that somebody, our young girl told just some time back, I think she said, 100 kilometers, 200, be saying what happens in Delhi will happen in Hyderabad. So what happens in Odisha will not happen in Bengal. So we need to be region specific. And also the local, pace of learning. For example, those who are from rural backgrounds. My university has got 9,000 top minds of the state, if not country. They come from 10th class. Then I have to upskill them in technology. Then I have to upskill them in skills. Then I have to upskill them in placement. And so it's a big, I don't say it's a challenge, and especially people from the training and this thing. So my submission or my conclusion is that it's not a one-shot approach with a single this thing. It has to be studied in detail and rolled out in phases. So, thank you.
First, my all views are mine. My brand McDonald's and my company have nothing to do with this. I will just, when you see the research development or the critical institutions like healthcare and all, I will give you a small example. It's a coincidence. Yesterday, my daughter was just tried to get some information on rickets, that is a disease, on ChatGPT. And it's because of the vitamin D and all. And she came and told me, Papa, how effortlessly it is coming. Came effortlessly. You are viewing it effortlessly. There are a hell lot of efforts gone inside that. So, and then whatever coming, the output of ChatGPT is the view, or that is the knowledge what she is going to get. It should be fairness. You have to make user understand whatever the output is coming is quite fair. Second, it should be explainable. You can explain why it is coming. Third, I will take it, it should be robust. So we have to ensure user, whatever the technology we are using at the back end is robust enough and making the proper information as a output. Fourth one is the transparency. So we can expose our employees or the industry, because we are still in a very, very initial stage of the adaptation of the AI. So we have to be very transparent. What kind of data model we are what kind of data set we are training. So those are the important things. And the fifth one is privacy. So how we will ensure the privacy is maintained out of all these things. So being a technocrat, I never see the front end of the ChatGPT, because as a CIO, I have to ensure the data security, compliances, and the right information at the right time. So this is what is the importance I feel.
Okay. So
Thank you.
We did not have machines. Why were humans working? Humans were working because of the compulsive needs of food, shelter, clothing, survival, and a curiosity to explore the universe or the world that we see around. Now, at that time when there were no machines, only energy that functioned was human energy. Human had to move their hands, human had to do things. Then machines came. Most of our work was taken over by those machines, but not all. And those machines were partially capable. They were not able to do, they were able to do some physical things, some non-physical things, but as time proceeded, we learned what we have to do and what machines should do for efficiency. Similarly, when this advancement in machine learning and AI is coming, I see a world where a small number of humans and a large number of machines and AI bots are running this world, and humans do not have to work for livelihood, for survival. Most of the activities that we do on a day-to-day basis or corporates do will be replaced by AI bots, video bots, machine learning algorithms, and human time will be saved for even more constructive things like research or understanding the outside world in a deeper sense, or looking at planets and stars and understanding what is out there. Or we can spend our time on creativity, which is imaginations, which machines cannot do, including AI ML. And similarly, humans will spend their time on understanding their inner consciousness or their inner world and enjoying life. Like they'll be more with people, there'll be more connections, they'll be more with nature. So we are moving to a time when most of our tasks will be offloaded. The concerns that we have about reskilling is when the technology will take over most of the human effort and we don't have to do anything. In terms of the research direction, to support this, we are moving into, in the immediate sense, autonomous driving is coming, human avatars are coming. We transitioned from chatbots to now voice interfaces are coming, and most of the human interactions is in voice. Those voice interactions or voice interfaces are just outside. They will be out in the market pretty soon. And then video interfaces are coming, video bots are coming, video avatars are coming, who humans like humans do. Today they're not able to emote well. They have limited understanding of the natural language and limited emotional intelligence, as everybody pointed out. But the research is paced in such a way that those milestones will be achieved in a few years, and we'll see a world where most humans do not need to work.
So making those applications, they have to be careful to give
some sort of control to the users, what they want to share and what they do not. So there should be some sort of setting. Yes, I want to share my name. Maybe I want to share my city. Not more than that. So there should be options provided to the end user. So that's what, when we develop any software, we provide terms and conditions. Okay, we often avoid that. We said, yes, go ahead and install it. So might be mobile application. It's sending your, it's reading your all your SMSs. It's reading entire your call logs, right? So you have to be careful what application is supposed to do that. Is that legitimate? Are you agree with that or not? Then only you proceed. If you don't agree with that terms, do not use that software. Look for an alternate which is better in terms of how that is going to use your data. So first thing I talked about, how. Okay, so sorry, what. So what it is going to store. Second thing we have to keep in mind is where. So where it will store, if it is secure or not. So what data center it is using, it is security encrypted or not. Because nowadays there is lots of hacking instances. Entire website, entire data, even you can say data centers are getting hacked. So we have to be careful if organization is giving me guarantee that it will be saved in safe store or not. And third thing, when it will be used. Okay, and it will not be shared by anyone. So these are the three things which we need to be careful while visiting any website, installing application. So let's be careful about these things. And let me add some more context. Okay, it's not about organizations. Even Google, right? Recently, 2.5 years ago in US like advanced country, there was a lawsuit, law case where a law firm, I mean on behalf of users, so they, put a, you can say, case against Google that they are not honoring the terms and conditions of the incognito mode, okay? So most people use it, okay? Very dangerous thing, okay? If you are entering some data, you are searching something, what sites you are visiting, all those information got exposed. So in that case, it was exposed, and Google also accepted that those data were somehow exported and sent and you can say sold to third-party advertisement companies. Okay, so that is major you can say violation in terms of data privacy. So we have to be careful. Even companies like Google may sometimes fall. So as an organization, as a professional, you have to make regular audits. Even you are safe, but make some regular audit, make some ethical hacking to understood if there is a risk towards the data that you are storing from the end user perspective. Because you are liable and you are responsible to maintain that securely, and that data is not compromised. So that is organization's responsibility. And also as an individual, we have to be careful how we are accepting those terms and conditions, without reading we are proceeding. We have to be very, very careful.
I think what we need to understand is a couple of things. First is, our students who are entering college today, by the time they graduate, 40% of the jobs will be non-existent, right? So we have to know that. Of course, our friend from Google, etc., from Adobe said that, there are times when you are told what is happening with your data. I want a show of hands over here in the hall, right, to see how many of you have actually read the end user license agreement before clicking I agree. Only one person. Are you a lawyer by profession? Yes, you are. There you go. Well, so that's what I'm saying. And if I ask a question, right, how many of us have given our Gmail passwords to a friend or a family member? Can I see a show of hands, please? Be true to yourself. So that's what I'm saying. Privacy is something that we are not very, very careful about, right? A couple of years ago, there was this startup. I was part of the NASSCOM, I was the CEO of NASSCOM Foundation earlier, and we used to talk about tech for good and also startups, etc. So there was the startup which used to actually, whenever you enter a mall, through NFC, it used to find out what is there in your notes and your list. For example, you're looking at a Nike shoe, and you put it over there, automatically you would get a message from the Nike store over there. So what was happening in the background was this was being analyzed, right? And it was not a real auction, but an AI-based auction through the various stores over there, where actually you were a product and you were being sold to those stores, and whoever was giving the best return and scheme, you were guided to that store saying that, look, this is how you reach that, and automatically a Google map would open up, right? And this was about 4-5 years ago. Today, if you look at it, it's important for us to see what's happening. About 6 months ago, 1.5 million records using a thing which was PassGen, a password, AI password generator. That was a thunderous thing, but anyway. So what had happened, of course, you'd be surprised to hear that out of this 1.5 million records, in less than a minute, in 10 minutes, 61% were hacked, and so on and so forth. 80% were hacked in a day.
Start with the definition of AI. So, I mean, you were just asking, I mean, what is your understanding with AI? So, AI is basically not the artificial intelligence, but the intelligence which is artificial. So, I would say that, I mean, AI is basically the simulation of human intelligence by the machines. So, I mean, we cannot think of any technology, whether it is good or bad, without the human intervention. So human will also be there, human intervention will also be there, human intelligence will also be there. So the only point is that, you know, the development, designing, deployment, use of this technology must be in a safer, transparent, accountable and responsible manner. We all know that, you know, every potential opportunity comes with a potential risk. So the same is with AI also. And we have seen it in the past also that, you know, whenever a new technology comes, it comes with the opportunities and the risks. So we have to take care that, you know, we have to utilize, maximize the opportunities and minimize the risks. So I think, you know, if we take care of 4 or 5 aspects, 4 or 5 factors, I think it will be beneficial for the Indian economy. You know, the betterment of human life, you know, for increasing the efficiency, you know, the comfort. So I think the government, you know, because we are industry association and we have specific councils, we have specific, you know, team committee on this subject also. And various leading IT companies, organizations working in AI are associated with us. And government is definitely making policies time to time and improving these policies with the inputs from, you know, the industries. So many meetings have been done and, you know, many regulations have been formed, and government is now fine-tuning these regulations by the input of various, you know, such companies. So I think government is now working on 4 or 5 aspects, which is data privacy, first of all, because, you know, now the technologies are using lots of personal data, and this data is stored somewhere, we all know. So government is making policies so that this data can be prevented, you know, this theft, you know, can be stopped, and this data can be utilized for the betterment, for the, you know, so government is making policies for that. Lots of inputs are already given, you know, this brainstorming is going on. Second, I'm personally handling this education and skill vertical, and I've seen that government is doing lots of work on skilling, upskilling and reskilling, because that is very much required. We all should know that, you know, the people, those who are working, the companies, those who are working in this field, they should design, develop, deploy and use, you know, this entire system in a responsible manner. So for that purpose, I think skilling, upskilling and reskilling is definitely required, and many companies have already started working on this. So our Ministry of Skill, NSDC, they are also working on this. You know, they have specifically designed courses on AI now. I mean, we have just listened to AICT chairman also. He has also mentioned that now this course has been introduced in our engineering curriculum also. I mean, my son is studying in 9th class, so he also has a subject specifically on AI. I mean, we have never seen this subject in 9th class. So they have a subject AI, you know. So at that level, and NEP also has this subject AI, you know. Third, I think, the government is working on improving the infrastructure, because, you know, definitely these technologies need lots of infrastructure, the high-speed internet, which is not there, you know, even in the villages now. So third point is this, and then I think government is working on this. I mean regulations also. So they are working on making stringent rules, ethical concerns, about using this technology. So these 4-5 vectors where government is closely working with the industries. That's it.
So ladies and gentlemen, I'm very proud to be here and proud to be representing my organization, that is Armed Forces. You see the topic that I have got to speak, from battlefield to boardroom, evolution of leadership in disruptive era. Let me tell you, my dear ladies and gentlemen, last 30 years of my life, I have actually lived, breathed this topic. And it would be my pleasure to share few life lessons. And let me transport you a dark, cold, moonless night, date 31st December 1997, place Leh Military Airfield, altitude 11,000 feet, rarefied atmosphere. For those who do not know what rarefied atmosphere means, ask a Fauji. Rarefied atmosphere means that the oxygen is less, very less. Your lungs scream for oxygen. This night, the mercury had dipped down to minus 15 degrees. And when the world was celebrating to usher in the new year, a lone lady officer was supervising her team that was tasked with clearing the snow from the military airstrip. After many hours of relentlessly being on tarmac, motivating her team to work harder, and gave a thumbs up to ATC. A big shabash to her team. They all said Happy New Year to each other with steaming hot mugs of tea brought from the langar. They silently accepted her as the leader. This was the sight next day. 1st of January 1998, 0430 hours, AN-32 of Indian Air Force takes off from Chandigarh Military Air Base to land smoothly at Leh Military Airfield. So as the first lady officer in high altitude and extreme cold climate area.
So next generation incubators, accelerators, and how we create the new entrepreneurs in this disruptive era. So that is the hallmark, I mean, what we need to do, how we can really catch up to that new wave which is happening all over the globe. How India can catch up or even beat those ecosystems in the world, particularly in Silicon Valley and Europe and all that. I think it's a great opportunity for India to catch up, like what we did in the telecom industry, when everybody was still trying to lay the copper wires and all that. We straight away went into the wireless mobiles and all that. Today, India has got the best telecom infrastructure. In fact, the kind of bandwidth that we provide in every nook and corner of this country, I don't think any country anywhere in the world can have that kind of infrastructure. The kind of digital payment mechanism, the infrastructure through Aadhaar and the India Stack and all that, that also India is #1 at this point of time in the world. So the new age entrepreneurs in India, they have to catch up and take advantage of the infrastructure already created by central government and also various state governments. And many innovative incubators like T-Hub in Hyderabad has already been functional very, very well. But only thing is, if you go in the conventional way in this disruptive era, they'll get disrupted. You have to think in a very innovative way. How do we really think out of the box? People keep talking about these buzzwords, but I just now met one gentleman. He's from Gujarat, and he met me on a lunch meeting. He is actually manufacturing all the coffee and tea vending machines, and with our own indigenous technology. Like whenever I come to Delhi, whenever I ask filter coffee, South Indian filter coffee, none of the hotels are able to match my taste. So I stopped taking filter coffee whenever I come to North India. Whereas this gentleman said, sir, perfect filter coffee vending machine. We are already have the machines, and these machines are getting deployed. Not only coffee, tea vending machines and all that. and he's going to export these machines, and he's a very young gentleman coming from Gujarat, getting into the manufacturing. So that is the kind of talent now we are seeing in India, as somebody was telling in the morning that this is the India wave.
I'll keep it short because I understand that we are running against time for this panel. What we're discussing here is incubators and accelerators, and I'll limit myself to commenting on the legal and business aspects of that in terms of funding and growth. Incubators and accelerators in India have come at a stage. I mean, we have from the likes of T-Hub and Mr. Chaudhary also sitting here. It is for the very first time in the history of the evolution of incubators and accelerators from India that we have now diversified from only a government ecosystem to also a very heavy private ecosystem. Earlier, most of the incubators and accelerators were backed by the government. Now we have private parties coming to play in terms of not only academic institutions but also HNIs and other funds, the larger funds who are opening their early stage incubators, which is actually a very big, it's a very big move for the Indian startup ecosystem, because incubators and accelerators are something that have traditionally been backed only by the government or academic institutions. But however, with the private sector coming into being, sets up the whole chain for their growth in a very quicker fashion. And in terms of legalities, obviously it is the incorporation of the incubators and accelerators that need to be kept in mind, the kind of structuring that needs to be there, because they need legal advice of a very sharp level, and because we do handle a lot of incubators and accelerators, and we understand that sometimes they tend to ignore this very important aspect, but in the longer run it plays a very important role. So which are few pointers, whether it's mostly LLP structure or private limited structure, depending on how they want to grow going forward. And just to add to this and to conclude, I'd just like to bring forth this data.
So I think this may sound a little paradoxical, but what I'm going to start with is, and I want to make sure everyone is awake, right? So first I think this whole model of physical incubation, right, I think will change, right? So I think you'll see a lot. I think we've all learned during the pandemic on how to cope with, doing things digitally, right? So I think you'll start to see more and more focus on virtual incubation, right? And obviously that has tremendous advantages, because geography is no longer, a limitation. And today, for example, like Dr. Chaudhary was saying, for example, mentors could be anywhere in the globe, right? You could get funded from anywhere in the globe. You could find customers anywhere in the globe, right? So I think virtual incubation will start to become more and more critical, one. Second, I think, is new models, right? So I think one of the things in India today is we have 700 plus incubators, and like she said, many of them are government supported, academic supported. You will see more private sector incubators coming up.
The student. And in the process, there are multiple stakeholders to be worked with, which is the school administration, the teachers, the entire support staff, the parents. So how do you kind of get all of them? Because transformation will happen to the student when these stakeholders also understand how does tech influence them, or how do they apply tech. They may not know. For example, when I did my engineering in like 96, believe me, I mean, the only access, or when I passed out in school in 92, I mean, the computer lab was only available for playing 1 or 2 games, that's it, nothing else. Even in engineering, while we were taught how to program, but we were asked to write the code in the paper, and the compilation happened just by checking. So I think the world has progressed a lot from there. Now what I'm about to talk to you is mostly on 2 parts. One, how is Google, when I say Google, not just Google Cloud, how is Google looking at education? Second, a little bit about AI, but then more importantly, how do we want to engage with colleges, universities? Largely, this is aimed at higher ed. And in the process, how do we engage with companies who want to work with these colleges or universities?
Imagine 570 million people on social media, never heard of. Morning, my dear friend Dr. Sitaram talked about India producing 1.4 million engineers.
Collectively, America and China together, if you put all the engineers they produce, we are far better than them. They still don't match to our numbers. So India is all about scale. It's about managing the complexity. Look at the digital payments that India is making. 350 million transactions happening on digital payments. Right, now more information for you. The last line is very important. Asia, if you look at the number of people, English-speaking population in Asia is 460 million plus. Out of that, if I talk to you about India, more than 50% is in India. When I talk about Asia, India is the largest Asia. I may allow to say so, right? So, why I am showing this to you? The country is full of land of opportunities. What I am saying is, we have no doubt, not the third, I think we will be the largest and the biggest economy in the next 5-7 years. We are talking about 2050. I think India will be the third largest economy very soon. It won't take time till 2047 or 2050, but I think India will be the hub for every possible thing on the earth.
Why is there no early intervention while some companies have started doing it? Why don't you say probably go and talk during their freshman induction or probably one stage below? And same to universities, right? When you get in students, in our context, in our culture, right? Probably this is an answer to the first question as well. Why do most of the students today also become engineers? Yes, by choice. Students have more information than what we corporates have about where they would want to land and what they would want to do. They are very choosy, right? But talking to them about the avenues, what they can take up, even before they hit their undergraduation is very important. Probably take one step below, right? Go to higher primary, higher secondary, talk to students as to where they can shape up their careers. And in our country, our culture is more influential. Uncle's son is a software engineer in the US, so I want my son to be a software engineer, go to the US. We don't talk about anything else. And if you go and talk to freshmen in engineering colleges today, probably about 60-70% of them would be engineers because of peer pressure. Right? Either their fellow classmates would be engineers, their parents would have pushed them to be engineers, or something on those lines, right? So with that say, probably the next question.
Hi. I represent Tata Group of companies. I am also part of Corporate and Campus Connect since last 10 years. We have internships for students, right? What I feel, it is much more important to have internships for professors so that they can visit the campus corporates, they can visit the corporates and understand the skill set required, because what skill set I require in my team today, it is not necessary it is required tomorrow, and it is changing. Secondly, my ask would be, when you are designing the curriculum, is it reviewed every year? I don't think so. It's hardly once in 5 years, once in a decade, and still we are doing the same things. So are the subject matter experts are onboarded when the review is happening? So these two things which I feel are the areas to address, and where Sir said the foundation to ensure that we have a right skill set available for the market.
We have a target to recruit 300 freshers for the coming year in 2024. In 2025, we have the same target to go with. I have been exploring the universities to recruit in a different initiative in terms of the partnerships. But honestly speaking, I don't see any that craze coming up from the university. I've been to 2 to 3 universities in the month of December, but that fire is missed out. Like, I do not know. They just want to keep it in a mode. You come, you recruit, and then you go. I'm looking for a long-term partnerships where in the coming 2025, we can have a just-in-time kind of hiring. So I wanted to know your point of view in case if you guys will be able to help us out into this sort.
I think, Shastri sir, I'll take that. I think there are pretty very big institutions. Probably you may have reached out to one set of it, but there are some interested sharks in here who are sitting who will definitely catch you immediately after this to take it up from there.
I am looking for a kind of ecosystem.
Sir, you raised in a proper platform. We are there, sir. Your answer is done.
So you would definitely get it out of this crowd, and there are quite a number of enablers also. So we'd make that happen.
We have our leadership awards, and for this I would like to call upon Talis Rizvi sir. He's just got his coffee. He's the Director for Special Projects and Communities at BW Business World and BW CFO World.
This started about 2-3 months ago. Wanted to take this particular series of India Tech Talent League all over the country, and everywhere he wanted, our help to get the startups, identified, put in front of the, right investors as such. So the conversation started, I believe, during the Hyderabad round. Chinmay, I think that was in November. So we said we will get this to the concluding event of his India Tech Talent League, which is happening in Delhi, and we started the process. So the idea is this.
And it's always exciting to be a part of such events because the kind of enthusiasm that you get to see in India, I don't think that that's possible across anywhere else. The kind of startups that have been pitched today, it's super exciting to see all the challenges that they have taken upon to solve the different kind of problems. And they've able to successfully cracked it. But with the enthusiasm that they've been building, with or without funding also, I think they are already on the right path. But we would also like to act as a right set of participants for them to maybe expedite this growth and be the partners for them to reach to the right set of scales. So that's, I think, our 2 cents on this. I'll be probably going to pass the mic.
Pawan here. I'm actually leading the angel network at Venture Garage. I have been an angel investor for almost 10 years, and I became an angel investor because I like to work with founders, spend time with them, see the new things they're doing, new problems they're solving, with new solutions, etc., etc. And I think I had a great time today, listening to all of you guys, seeing what new stuff you're doing, with new thought processes. Yeah, of course, some of you are ahead in your stage, and we would like to invest in you as well. But thanks, I had a great experience.
The selection was done pretty well. Most of the startups, we really like the way you presented the solutions professionally. Plus, I think you guys are really solving a real problem versus just a deemed problem, which is good. So really loved being a part of the room today. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Siddharth from the GMR Group. And so having seen GMR Group grow from scratch to the position where it is today, I think 2 fundamental things that go into making any business a good progressive business is to persevere and make improvement and learning a continuous ongoing process. So I wish all the best to all the startups which participated today for their onwards journey, and I hope all of you do very well going forward. Thank you.
My name is Dr. Vishal, represent BioRx Venture Advisors and also an Indian healthcare angel. So for me, I think it was a great exposure to learn about the nuances of HR tech, and I think I want to thank Deena for giving this opportunity to me, because this is perhaps the first time I'm actually getting to see 10 startups in HR tech, and I think all of you are trying to solve a very real problem. Don't worry if you get selected or you don't get selected here, but I think the impact that you're trying to create, what I could visualize, is really great, and we'll definitely like to contribute to the success of your startup from now onwards. So please be in touch with us, and we'll certainly like to see how we could create a better impact together. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
So I will announce the top 5 in order. Please come.
So I would now request the CEO of GoCloud to receive the award, that is Tech Pioneer Excellence Award for Innovation in IT Services.
Ladies and gentlemen, for being our event management partners for 4 cities, for giving us a very smooth experience, everything delivered on time, sharing insights, and at the same time, their whole team has been dedicated enough to be with us for all the 4.
To stay informed about the startup ecosystem, subscribe to My Startup TV.